Mister, you want something different? I know a place full of different things.
31 seconds.
This should be played at high volume.
What's up, people? This is your boy Levelhead, and this is another Live and Level Gamers podcast, episode 106, with my boy Keith Norris. Go ahead, bro.
What's up, everybody? Ready to get in with this video game chit chat.
Yeah, man. It look like it's just gonna be me and you unless D2K jump in. K-Bum has family matters, so he won't be able to pop in on this one. So, but what's been good with you, man?
Well, I don't know if I ever told anybody this, but been unemployed for a little bit. Got a few applications, waiting on this interview to come back at this university. So other than that, I've been all right. Still trying to hold it down for the fam.
I feel you on that. Well, you don't know nothing about that, Keith.
Who was that?
You don't know nothing about that. I can't even tell you who that is, man. If I get to tell you, you might try to go out and cop it. They call Dream Junkies, man.
Dream Jumpers?
Junkies.
Junkies, oh, okay.
Dream Junkies, yeah. But anyway, man, we got a lot to talk. Well, I don't know. Would you consider it a lot to talk about?
I mean, we could talk about it. I don't know if it's a lot, though. I mean, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week at the E3, man. I think the consensus that I've taken is people were satisfied with what was shown, but people at the same time they wasn't satisfied. So like it wasn't like what was shown was bad or anything. I just think it's just a lot of mixed emotions amongst the Nintendo fan base right now. Right. This whole third party situation I went. I didn't know. You just informed me of something that I didn't even know took place. Like let's not get into that yet. Let's do what we normally do, and then we'll get there. So what you been gaming on, man?
Oh, well, since I told you that earlier, it's been kind of weird for me to try to play video games. I don't know if you feel that same way, but I went ahead and finished Titanfall 2 last night, and then I hopped on the online and won one match, and then I went to sleep. I bought Mighty Gun Vault Burst on the Switch, and then before that I bought Shantae Half Genie Hero. I'm a huge fan of the Shantae games. They're really fun. Mighty Gun Vault is pretty much Mega Man, the old classic Mega Mans with some new flavors in there. You can customize your busters and stuff like that. You can make them curve. You can make them shoot faster. You can make them shoot shorter. It's pretty cool. I never even expected or seen any thing like this in a Mega Man game before. Got some real RPG type. Well, I wouldn't really say RPG, but it got some elements in there that I wasn't expecting. And I told y'all I bought NBA 2K16. All right, so anybody playing 2K on the PC, man, I'm praying for you, because it sometimes work, it sometimes don't work. I played like 2 hours of it only because I didn't want to cut it off. It'll do like this startup thing, but then it'll keep trying to start over and over and over again, and I had to do some troubleshooting just to get it working. So whenever 2K18 drop on the Switch, I'll be playing it on there. But that's about it.
Oh, okay. Man, basically I bought Arms.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. I didn't buy it, but yeah.
I bought Arms. I think I bought it Saturday, and I'm enjoying it. But I honestly, I'll be honest, I really haven't gotten a chance to really play it. I really haven't gotten a chance to really give it a go where I can feel like I can give a real true take on how I feel about it. I mean, based on what I played during the Punch Fire, I guess that's what it was called. I'm still kind of rolling on that experience more so than having the game to play. I just haven't gotten a chance to sit down and actually play the game. I've been doing a lot of work in my backyard, trying to get my backyard up from the summer hitting and weeds and different things growing, and from work to that to my son's football camps and all this type of stuff. I really haven't had a chance to get it in on the gaming, but the little bit that I played, I suck. I suck, man, and I was doing a lot better doing the test fire, and I don't know if I have like not retained the controls, but I got to go through it again and go through the I guess a tutorial and let it retrain me on how to do everything, because I was getting blasted, man, online, getting blasted by the computer. I was just getting owned. So for right now, I would say my experience with Arms has been average, but it's really because I haven't gotten a chance to really give it my full focus, because I have so many things going on between, like I said, my son and football, my daughter and her camps and work, and then the yard and the lawn and doing all that, man. It's just been a busy last week for me. So the gaming hasn't been much, but I did play Arms and a little Tekken. But both of them games I haven't really gotten a chance to really get into. So, but with that being said, man, let's get into the conversation piece of this podcast. Look like it's just gonna be me and you. Like I said, if D2K jump in, that'll be beautiful. If he don't, it's just me and Mr. Norris. So anyway, one of the topics that I want to talk about tonight is the fact that, again, our community, if you consider yourself a part of this community, is divided. And I believe it's always the case, but different things bring to the surface how divided this community is when it comes to Nintendo, the Nintendo community. This is not the only thing we're going to talk about, but we're going to start here. So last podcast was very interesting. I went on a little rant. I shared my thoughts about E3. I shared my thoughts about the hypocrisy that I saw amongst the community and individuals, not by name, but just people that I respect and hold in high regard. I love their comments. I love their videos. I love their takes and opinions. And I just felt like across the board that there was a lot of fandom usurping sound judgment, if that's a fair way to put it. But unbeknownst to me, there was a wildfire brewing in this community that I don't even think I witnessed yet. I seen videos from different individuals. I seen OJ video. I seen Mr. T's video. I seen John Shaw's video. I seen everybody on this third party take it. I was like, at first I thought, are they talking about our podcast? Because I wasn't talking about third party. But then you alluded to a debate that I kept hearing in every other person's video referring to OJ and something I guess he said. So I'm going to let you take over, man, because I didn't see this debate. So kind of bring me up to speed on some of the conversation piece of that debate and how that debate seemingly is being waged between this community.
Well, I didn't watch the whole debate, but basically the debate was between Francis, Player Essence, OJ, and whatever else he go by, and Retro Death. Retro Death is I think he's a YouTuber, and I've seen him on Terminator Juice's podcast, and the debate was basically why third parties are skipping over Nintendo platforms and things like that. And if you go and watch the debate, It was a little bit of a disrespect thing going on while OJ was kind of talking over Retro Def, and Retro Def was, I thought he was giving some good points, but I had to actually go back and listen, in detail to see what he was saying. But that's basically what it was, man. They were just going back and forth over why Nintendo consoles aren't getting third parties, and they brought up sales, they brought up the Nintendo fan base, they brought up bad ports. I think they mentioned like Assassin's Creed 3 was like running at 16 frames per second on the Wii U. And basically, the Wii U was one of the reasons why Nintendo don't get these third parties. Of course, if you do your history, you'll see that Nintendo's historically, since the N64, has not been getting third party games. Um, but yeah, I mean that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So, okay, I know you said you couldn't listen to all of it because it was, challenging to listen to. Could you give me OJ's position, what he was saying versus what Retro Death or whatever he was saying?
All right, so basically, I can sum it up this way. They both took a stance on Retro Death was looking at it from a fan's point of view, and OJ was looking at it from uh, publisher or a business point of view. And basically, OJ was bringing it down to it's all about money. They want to make money. They don't feel like they can make money on the Nintendo platforms. And Retro Death was basically saying that they should think more about the gamers because we are the ones that's, basically buying their products. If we're not the ones buying their products, they can't make money. So that's pretty much their positions on it. And I agree with that. I mean, if I don't go out and buy these games or we don't go out and buy these games, they don't make money. So it don't matter what platform you put it on if nobody's buying it.
Right. Well, my thing is this, man. There are so many different takes and different positions and different point of views on third party and Nintendo. Everybody's position varies from each other. I heard that OJ might have said something of the ilk that you need to buy these games to create opportunity for more games to come. If you buy these third-party offerings, no matter, I guess, the condition of the port, you still should buy and support in order to get more third-party, which I think is a dumb take. But I just feel like I don't think none of us is approaching this honestly. You know what I'm saying? One moment we saying we don't care about third party, and then the other moment we when we get the third party we didn't care for it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I've seen this happen so many times, like Bayonetta 2. We went ham over that game. We went ham over the fact that Nintendo saved Bayonetta 2 from a grave. But again, that was a third-party title. That was a title that came to Xbox. Well, not that title, but that was a franchise that was available on both the Xbox and PlayStation with the original that we didn't see. And you would hear a lot of people not care about it or not talk about it, but when we got it, it was better than everything in that genre. It was better than God of War. It was better than Devil's May Cry. It was, and I see us do this. So, in my opinion, we do want third party. I remember when Call of Duty came out on the Wii U, the first Call of Duty that came out, I think Black Ops, and a lot of people that swore up and down they didn't care for third party. I would watch their videos, and that's all they were playing was Call of Duty, and raved about the motion controls and raved about all this. And I gotta send a shout out to John Shaw because he was one of the big ones who, he said he bought it for the motion controls and chose it over the other two platforms. But I didn't know John Shaw. I didn't know at that time the people that I was watching was very strong opposers to third party and Activision and EA and all these folks. But when that game came to the Wii U, that's all you saw them streaming for a good minute was Call of Duty. So, but before that, Keith, it was Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? Right. When they couldn't get it, or when they right. So I don't know what and why this is such a divide in this community. When I was talking about what I was talking about last week, the first thing that was thrown up is third party. In the video I put up today, everybody in the video seemed to isolate on third party. Everything else I said there is like I didn't say nothing. Third party was like a slice, a small part of that video. Maybe 3 minutes of that video was focused on third party. And that's the only thing that everybody focused on in the comment section for the most part. You get the whole logic of, oh, you want Nintendo station or a Nintendo box. All this logic and this other logic. I can buy, I got all those platforms. If I want those games, I can buy it over there. None of these mindsets is working for this fan base. I feel like the first thing we need to do, we need to be honest as a fan base. We need to be honest about the fact that the majority of us want third party. We don't have to have parity across the board with Sony and Microsoft, but there's a lot of these titles that we want. What would you say to that?
Absolutely. I was one of the few people who was champion wanting a game like Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Wii U. I wasn't, worried about the technicals and things like that, but I was like, man, can you imagine playing Grand Theft Auto 5 with that map always there? I used to hate having to pull up that map on the PS3.
Right.
So yeah, I want third-party games on my Nintendo platforms because I'll give you an example, and I said it earlier on the What You've Been Gaming on, NBA 2K18. Yes, I have a PC. Yes, I can play it over there and play it at high fidelity, max settings and things like that. But just having that ability to take that game on the go, these are the things that Nintendo consoles, from the Wii to the Wii U and now the Switch, these are the things that they offer that the other consoles don't offer, but the games aren't there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I want third party. I'm not gonna sit there and try to fake the funk and say these games are just trash. I say if a game itself, like Assassin's Creed, I don't like Assassin's Creed, but that don't mean I hate Ubisoft or Ubisoft, however you want to say it. You know what I mean? I just don't like that particular game. And you're right. We got to be more honest. But it was something that John Shaw said in his video that I really like. He's like, y'all are third-party developers. It don't matter. You shouldn't be trying to pick and choose which console you putting your games on. You third-party. You need to put your games on all consoles because that's what you're supposed to do. And I was like, bravo, brother. Bravo.
I agree. John had a good video, man. He had a real good video, and I agree with you. It was another thing, man, that I feel like since we talking about this, and I've heard this waged many times, and as something that Nintendo should do, and I don't know if they should do it or not. This is something that Iwata was very much opposed to doing, and that is basically funding these titles. Now, I'm gonna say there's some give and take. There's some pros and cons. There's pros. Yeah, there's goods that's gonna come out of, and there's bads. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about this, because third party is an issue. It's been an issue, like you said, going all the way back to the 64. I remember when PlayStation got Street Fighters. The Street Fighters we got now, the turbo on the PlayStation, it didn't come to the N64. And I didn't understand why Capcom wouldn't put that game on the N64. It always bothered, and all the fighting games that I love, Mortal Kombat, none of that stuff would come to the N64, going from the Super NES to the N64. And I remember that feeling. I remember looking at the PlayStation like, why? And I didn't understand the backdrop. I didn't understand how what was going on behind the scenes. I wasn't that type of fan at that time. I just bought games and played them as I can buy them and play them. I didn't care about the drama and the friction that was going on with company and developer and all that stuff. I didn't care about none of that. But I did notice that my Super NES experience was drastically different with the N64. But And I also knew that power-wise, what I saw on the N64 was more impressive than what I saw on the PlayStation 1. So my young 19, 18-year-old mind, not being so wrapped up in the goings-ons of the business of this stuff now like I am now, I didn't understand what was going on, Keith. So I'm going to the store like I'm thinking we finna get Street Fighters and all the stuff we got on Super NES, and kind of find out we didn't get none of that stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, as much as I love the N64, it made me loathe and kind of envy the PlayStation 1, because a lot of them titles was there. Even though I love my N64 more than, that's one of my favorite consoles of all time was the N64, GameCube. Them were some of my favorite consoles, best games ever made and developed on them platforms. But I won't lie and say when I looked over the fence into the PlayStation 1 and the Dream and the whatever Sega had, and you see Virtual Fighters and you see Tekken and you see Street Fighters and you see Mortal Kombat and you see all the other games that you would normally have seen on the on the Nintendo platform over there, I can't sit here and lie and say I wasn't envious as a gamer and a more mostly Nintendo console playing gamer. And I believe that same envy, as much as we try to deny it, still exists. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
All right, so, and I don't want to, if I'm rambling on, man, cut me off and jump in, you know.
I did want to bring one thing up when you brought up the N64.
Go ahead.
I remember going to my grandmother's house and my uncle was there. And I was talking about the N64, and I was talking about, man, I can't wait till I get one, because I think I got one the year after it came out. And he was like, yeah, I want to get one too. He started describing a commercial, and I had seen this commercial, but he started describing it. What he was describing to me was Final Fantasy VII. He thought that was the N64, and I had this dumb look on my face like, no, that's not the N64. Right. And I was like, crap, man, you know. And it didn't dawn on me until, you know, years later. I thought about it. I was like, man, the Nintendo 64 missed out on a lot of stuff. Like, especially since that was a game that was supposed to come to the N64. And you're right. It is a little bit. I think it is a little bit of envy with a lot of Nintendo gamers. Not all, but I think it is a little bit of envy that, you know, Nintendo makes these great games, and nobody else wants to bring their games to the platform. And a lot of people say it's because of the money. People say it's because of the fan base and all these little factors and excuses that they want to add to it. But at the end of the day, the fact that we're not getting these games makes people mad, and they don't want to say that. So they want to champion games that they are getting. And I'm not saying that the games that Nintendo puts out aren't bad. I mean, aren't good. But at the same time, you know dang well you really want Red Dead Redemption. You want those other games. You want Grand Theft Auto, the other games that's coming out. You really do want them on the Nintendo platform. And I know why. I mean, the Nintendo platforms always offer something unique and special about them. But that's just not the way the cookie crumbles, man. And at some point, you just gotta say to yourself, they not coming. I need to stop trying to twiddle my thumbs and petition and beg for games. They're not coming. Screw it.
Yeah, I'm not one for begging for nothing. I ain't begging for no game. You know what I'm saying? Not nothing third party. Now, I might get on there at Nintendo that you might need to get bring this back or bring that back. But as far as petitioning for like the Dragon Ball Z thing, I feel like if the developer can put it over there, why not just put it over? Why we got to come and beg you for a game that no other group has to beg you for? So I feel like there is legitimate reasons for this fan base to have disdain towards third party. And I have disdain towards third party. But at the same time, it's still always going to be an issue because truthfully, most of us want some aspect of third party. We might not want all of it, we might not like all of it, but some of them games we be wanting. And when we can't have it, it do make you feel less than. It do make you feel like you feel like Cinderella. I know that in you know, washing everybody else's clothes and ain't invited to the ball. You know, you forced to go upstairs and the door is locked on you in the game. It's like, cause you're a Nintendo fan, you get this treatment, and it creates this mindset. Well, I don't need them, but the truth is, you want it. So my question would be to you, Keith. I know the whole financing thing, I don't think it's the answer, but how should I put this? Because we just having, you know, just being me and you is a lot of space to really have dialogue. But on the Wii U, I believe, had Nintendo financed one or two particular games, that could have changed the fortunes of the Wii U. Like, I remember a video I made where I said, if Nintendo can get a game like Tomb Raider, I was just throwing out games I thought they should try their best to get, even if they had to go so far as to fund them themselves, like a Tomb Raider or a Grand Theft Auto. Games that I don't even play Grand Theft Auto, but I see the importance of a title of that magnitude. I see the importance of Call of Duty, even though I don't play Call of Duty. I see the importance of Battlefield, even though I'm not going to play Battlefield. See what I'm saying? And it's like,
right,
sometimes this fan base don't want to respect titles and games that have generated the fan base that you must respect it now. Like Mario and Zelda and all these games, Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, the reason everyone take note is because them games has generated such a name for themselves that you can't just write them off. And I'm sorry, but it's other games outside of Nintendo that generates the same respect, that Nintendo should not be the only one. Nintendo should not be the only one not getting those games. See what I'm saying? And it's like, I heard somebody say Nintendo's sitting on buttloads of money, even after the situation with the Wii U. Nintendo has money. They ain't hurting for a dime. And it wouldn't hurt them to finance one or two games at the initial front of your system to make sure some of these powerful titles were on your platform.
But
how would you address that, man? You know, because I know a lot of people are opposed to that, but I'm starting to consider if this is a viable option that Nintendo might need to consider.
Well, it depends. Is Sony and Microsoft have to pony enough money for these games? If they're not,
I'm pretty sure they have in the past.
Okay, well, in the past, yeah, and that's what I was going to bring up. To answer your question, how would I handle it? Well, I mean, if Nintendo is looking at these games, like they're publishing Skyrim. That's not Bethesda that's publishing Skyrim. That's Nintendo. Nintendo put up the money for that game. I don't know why they put up the money for the game. I think that's a mistake.
Right.
I think that's a mistake. That's a 5 to 6 year old game.
Right.
But here's the thing, and this is what I hate, and I hear people say this all the time. They say the Nintendo fans or the Nintendo fan base. You do realize that Nintendo fans own other consoles, and we're the minority. Everybody that's being vocal in this YouTube gaming community, we are the minority. But all those other Nintendo fans that don't get on YouTube and talk and all this other stuff, they have other consoles, and they are playing those games on the PS4. You know what I'm saying? So you do have Nintendo fans still playing these games. And then you got to look at the fact that a lot of the Nintendo console versions of these games were gimped. So they just say, well, I just go play with my friends over here. That's not in this group, this YouTube community. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of, they make up more. I mean, they're the majority of the gamer. You know what I'm saying? So we're not going to be able to control everything. We can make, protests and all this other stuff, but I kind of lost my train of thought where I was going.
No, I got done with.
But yeah,
it's only so
man,
much. It's only so much that we can do as the fans and the consumers. There's only so much. Even in not buying the game, we don't impact. Let's say a good statement, and I heard Mr. T say this too. Because of what EA or it was Capcom. Mr. T was talking about the attitude that Capcom is showing towards Nintendo with the supposed support, but titles that you would think they would put on a Nintendo system, since that title first home was a Nintendo system, they put it everywhere else but the Nintendo platform. So he's like, well, I'm not buying it nowhere. And that's kind of what John Shaw echoed.
Yeah.
I believe that's a commendable position, but I would say this: it's not enough of us to even affect Capcom.
Exactly.
See what I'm saying? Like, okay, let's say 40,000 of us don't buy a game on any other platforms that we got because a particular company. Let's say all of us did it. So let's say a couple of million, and all those 2-3 million, well, about 4 million Switch owners right now, maybe a million of them might have would have bought the game, right? Let's say they don't support it on the other platform. Is that really going to affect Activision or Capcom or whoever else, EA? No, because they got a whole fan base, a whole pool to pull from just a sec. They have a whole, my mom's calling, and she know I'm doing a podcast. She do this on purpose. Anyway,
I love mama.
Still, yeah, gotta love mom. But anyway, they have a whole audience to pull from not only Microsoft, not only Sony, but PC now. They are literally moved PC into Nintendo's position to not have to deal with Nintendo. So that is an intentional effort to shun the Nintendo gamer and the Nintendo brand. Now, the question is, you had to ask is why, right? That'd be one. And
you still there?
One, why? And two, what is Nintendo doing in their verbiage to either rectify or confront this very obvious intentional unwillingness to support their product? So I'm trying to get my thoughts right so I can ask you the question, because I want you to chime in on this. Is Nintendo, how much blame should we allocate to Nintendo for this third-party situation? We know what happened with the Super NES. We know how Nintendo were acting with third-party, which caused them to migrate to Sony because of the strict, overbearing way Nintendo dealt with them. But that's almost 2-3 decades removed now. Like, we're looking at something that happened 20 plus years ago, and Nintendo, since the PlayStation has entered in, has not been able to regain any real footing with third party. So is it a grudge still being held? I don't know. So how would you, how much blame should be allocated to Nintendo, first of all?
Probably 75 to 80%. Think about it. Okay, Nintendo, you treated us like this a long time ago. Now you need us in the future, but we're financially making more money on these other, well, sort of, because you still have companies going under that don't really support Nintendo platforms, but that's another topic. But you got these companies that's able to flourish. You know, you got Rockstar, whatever their real actual name is. They made one game, Grand Theft Auto 5, and it's the fourth or third highest grossing selling game of all time, behind Wii Sports. And the only reason Wii Sports did so good is because it was packed into the console of the Wii. So in a way, they can actually give the middle finger to Nintendo and say, we really don't need you. You know what I'm saying? The big companies. So I place a lot of blame on Nintendo. But what Nintendo did back in the day, around the N64 time, I know you remember this, they started doing their own versions of games. They had Kobe Bryant featuring NBA
Yeah,
Courtside featuring Kobe Bryant. They had the
I
King
bought that
Griffey,
game.
huh?
I bought that game.
Uh, they had King Griffey Jr. They did the 1080, I almost said 1080p, 1080 snowboarding. They started making all of these games, and this is kind of what you were alluding to in the last podcast. They started doing games that they don't typically do, which is the Marios, the Zeldas, the Metroids. Like we were still getting those games, but they also was giving us other games that they was publishing that they don't typically do. And I think that's where Nintendo should go. If they don't want to do it themselves, then they should put up money for these third party developers to make something exclusively for Nintendo platform. I just feel
Right.
like it's a little too late to try to go out and try to get a game like Anthem, even though Anthem hasn't came out yet. But I just think that the fan base, the online methods that these other companies have made, just kind of already puts Nintendo far behind them. I could be wrong, you know what I'm saying? I would like to be wrong, but I just don't think these type of games will work on the Nintendo platform because one, Nintendo gamers are going to play them on the other platform, and two, the whole online method and just the versions of these games um, just seem like they don't work. Now I probably contradicted myself because earlier I said I'm going to get NBA 2K18 on the Switch versus the other ones, but that's because I know that game is.
And I plan on getting it on the Switch too, man. Like
But
I bought NBA 2K. I plan on getting NBA 2K18. I got NBA what's the game upstairs? NBA the game that just dropped, Rising to the Top. What's the name of that dang on game?
rising to the top.
It's almost like NBA Jams. Playground.
Playgrounds.
Is it? Yeah, Playgrounds. I got that. I could have bought that on PlayStation or the Xbox One, but I bought it on my Switch. I bought Snake Pass on my Switch. So I would be honest. I would choose if the option is there to be bought on a Nintendo platform. I'm going to buy it on the Nintendo platform. So now it might not be a lot of me's, because some people might want the better graphics. To me, if the game plays identical, I can deal with the not being as graphically impressive as the PlayStation 4 version. I can deal with that as long as the gameplay and all the frame rates and all that is fine. I can deal with 720p as a verse to 1080p. I can deal with that.
But Playground still don't have its online
Right.
mode.
It is right, and that's where I was going to go. But that's what we end up getting. Which we gonna deal with that. We gonna deal with the online thing because I don't know if the situation with Nintendo's online is playing into why this game is not online like they want to. So we'll get there. But a question I want to ask, because I asked you how much blame do you give Nintendo? I would say at this point in time, I wouldn't give Nintendo 70-80%. I would say Nintendo is at least 50% to blame. I believe also because you brought up an interesting point, Keith. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not know. I didn't find out until talking to you guys on this podcast that Kobe Bryant courtside and what's it, the baseball game and all those games were actually made by Nintendo. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I didn't have a clue. Yeah, I didn't know that. I had no clue of that. So, and then it makes me ask the question: why did they go away from it? Was it the sales? Was it too much to keep up, or did they see that I can release more Mario games, more? Let's just be real. I'm just a real talk. Like,
no, I'm listening.
We didn't see Mario. Let's be real. we didn't see the IP, the title or the character Mario as much as we see him now back then. Like Mario wasn't in every single game that was of significance on the platform. Now we see Mario, and just you got to add Mario to just about everything to get it to kind of sell. And it's like, has Nintendo found a loophole in the game with their fan base? And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, dude, we can't. That's why my video this morning, I'm trying to show that Nintendo could be just as snakish, that's as wolf-like to their own fan base as we see with other companies. You know, it seems like Nintendo knows how to manipulate us to keep us coming back to them, even though they're not giving us what we really want. Like they keep baiting us back in without really giving us all of what we want. And as long as they can do that, do they really for real have to go at third party and have to really deal with third party when they know I can give you some iteration of Mario and you gonna bite it? Okay, I won't put out a 2D Mario for a half a decade or 6-7 years. You won't see a 2D Mario. And then out of the blue, I bring back 2D Mario and call it New Super Mario and have everybody eating out my hand again. And then I starve you on the 3D Mario and won't give you the real 3D Mario you want. And then all of a sudden I bring you Odyssey and have you eating out my hand again. And I starve you on Zelda and I won't give you the Zelda you want. And I make you wait all this time and then I show you a Zelda, then you eating out my hand again. And they constantly keep us coming back to them, but they never give what they promise most of the time. Like, do you see Nintendo also plan their fan base as well?
Well, first they are a business. They are a business first. I mean, they found a way to keep us coming back. This is true. Everything you said, I agree with. They have found a way to keep us coming back. Do I think they're playing us? I wouldn't say they're playing us, but I do think that they know that since they don't have third party to support the back end of that console or even the front end of that console like the other two, they have to. I don't want to say play these games, but they have to kind of strategically space out their games in a certain way to keep their fans happy. Like we don't see a mainline Mario game that often. Like a lot of people, like you brought up Mario being in everything, but the fans know there's not a mainline Mario. So we've been waiting on this guy since Galaxy or even Sunshine before it. You know what I'm saying? 3D
Right.
World was good, but it wasn't what we was expecting. You know what I mean?
Right. And we bought it because it's Mario, and we know we're gonna get right.
So yeah, they have to be a little kind of like you can look at this year alone and see how Nintendo is strategically spacing out at least one big title each month, a couple by indie games. You know what I'm saying? We got what's next month? Splatoon 2 coming out next month, and then after that, I think it's Mario and Rabbids. So they're trying to strategically place these games, and Nintendo is hoping to cultivate an audience, and hoping that that's going to bring over third party games. But I think Mr. T said something funny. I don't know if it was him or John Shaw, but somebody was like, "Yeah, you cultivating the audience for Nintendo games. You're not cultivating the audience for third party games because they're not playing them on your console. You're not making third party games, so why would they come play third party games on here because Nintendo games over here don't make sense?"
Let me ask this, and Nia bring up, and I just jumped in the live chat, and it kind of played into what my question I was asking, but she went a better way with it, and really made me go ahead and step out of trying to carefully walk through this without offending somebody. But she just plainly said it. The way she said, that's why I think it's Nintendo's fault. If Nintendo bring back third party in a major way, it could cut into how people buy their own exclusives. Meaning, do Nintendo intentionally limit third party to continue? Because Nintendo is off of their franchises. They're making profit off of their IPs. If I bring in titles and turn my fan base into that love to get third party equally to Sony and Microsoft that can drag Nintendo's pockets. Like, and I've never really looked at it like if Call of Duty gets equal shine on a Nintendo platform with all the bells and whistles like Mario has, then that could be challenging to Mario being sold. And that means while they got the game on their platform, that's taking dollars out of Nintendo pocket because now Nintendo game is competing with a third-party game. And I'm pretty sure Nintendo is happy while being third in the whole or fourth now in the whole position of the industry. Nintendo is making money hand over fist because everything that you buy from them is going back into their pockets. So see no urgency. They don't care if they sell. They don't have to sell in abundant droves. I'm pretty sure Nintendo made money off. It's just they weren't expecting it to sell that bad, but they still profited off of the Wii U, and they profited off of the games and the amiibos and all the stuff they constantly shove in our face and play on our nostalgia and our fandom to buy. So dude, is Nintendo intentionally limiting third-party IPs will sell more? Of course, if you don't have anything, you're gonna buy Kirby. If you don't have anything, you're gonna buy that Yoshi. But if I had the choice of buying Yoshi or Kirby or buying Tomb Raider, which game you think I'm gonna buy?
Man, Tomb Raider's a ball.
You know what I'm saying? So go ahead, take that over. Nia, that's a good point, Nia. That was a good observation.
I'm glad she brought that up because I actually have thought of that before. I just couldn't put it in words like she did. But yeah, I've actually thought about that before. And actually, I think there was a game. I was sitting here trying to think of what game Nintendo literally vetoed to come to their console. They vetoed the game because it was too similar to a game that they were going to put out. And they vetoed it because they didn't want to cut into their own sales. Now, I could be talking at the side of my neck, but I remember reading something like that. But I agree. I think, Nintendo's going to, what's the game? Splatoon. Let's use Splatoon for instance. They're going to veto a bunch of other third-party games that's similar to Splatoon because they want Splatoon to be exalted and raised above all this other stuff on the Nintendo platform. I'm trying to think of a Plants vs. Zombies. I think it's a game that we can compare. Like, let's say they brought whoever makes, is it EA that does Plants vs. Zombies? I can't think of who it is, but let's say they come to Nintendo and say, hey, we're gonna do Plants vs. Zombies for your console, and Nintendo will be like, no, we don't want it because we got a game. Or Ubisoft, they was coming up with that Rabbids game, but then it changed into Zombie U, and it was the original version of that game looks similar to what Splatoon became. So yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with what Nia said.
Yeah, I mean that's something I never really gave much thought to that Nintendo might. We always wonder why Nintendo want to give you the illusion that they are pursuing third party, but actually it works to Nintendo's favor not to have a lot of third party. Because it puts their games in a better position to sell even their more non-AAA titles. Like, okay, of course, Mario Odyssey is gonna sell no matter what's there. Breath of the Wild is gonna sell. Splatoon is moving into that position with Nintendo fan base. It's gonna sell no matter what. But if you have games from third parties that's AAA, and you have a game out there like a Kirby or a Yoshi or a Captain Toad, yes, it's gonna sell, but it wouldn't sell in droves like it would if the option to if you have an option like Tomb Raider there at the exact same time with quality development and being optimized for the system, and you put that in the same window as a Kirby or a Yoshi or something like that, I guarantee the fan base will buy that Tomb Raider game over. Most will buy Tomb Raider over Kirby. But when you don't have them options, Kirby looks good when you hungry. Kirby looks very delicious when you ain't got nothing else to really chew on. So Nintendo might be using our own. It could be manipulation on Nintendo part. While because the fan war, and John Shaw said, we all have said this. This fan war has moved us into such loyal positions where we don't even question the brand we're loyal to anymore. So I can see Nintendo using this whole fan war and this whole blind loyalty to their advantage as well. Because if I'm not really pursuing third party, but in your mind, third party is intentionally holding their titles back from my platform, Nintendo can get away with, really, I'm not even pursuing them. Really, I'm not even giving them dev kits when they need them. Really, I'm not really working with them. I'm not helping them out. Really, a lot of the testimonies that came out with the Wii U was Nintendo wasn't helping them with understanding the architect of the Wii U, wouldn't help them figure out certain differences because it was so drastically different from everything else these developers was working with. We heard a lot of those testimonies. And guess what we're hearing a lot now? They ain't saying it's power. You notice that?
Yeah.
I almost did a video with the people with Destiny, and I was going to put up, and I'm still going to do it, and talk about what I feel what might be going on. But the dude said, he didn't say it was a power issue. He said, Destiny is an online game, and kind of alluded to Nintendo is a portable device, and almost acted like Nintendo is not, my mindset is not focused on online only type gameplay. Their infrastructure is not prepared for that type of a game. They didn't say it was power. Go ahead.
I disagree with that, and not the infrastructure. I kind of do agree with the infrastructure because obviously they still trying to figure it out. But I disagree with the whole online thing. You see how many games Nintendo has made or brought out this year that's online. Mario Kart 8. We got ARMS, Splatoon's coming out next month. What's the game? Rocket League. And all these other games, Fast RMX, all these online games. No, they're not at the same caliber. But Nintendo is definitely focused on online gameplay, and they're giving the fans a lot of online games. That's where I kind of disagree with. But as far as like, I don't know what Destiny requires.
Well, I think you got to look at the totality of the online experience, not just the fact that you can jump online. Like Mario Kart and ARMS, you jump online, you have no real control outside of being able to play with these unknown people that you play with, like Splatoon, ARMS, Mario Kart. Nintendo is controlling most of that, whereas Destiny, you jumping online with your party, voice chatting, setting it all up. With Nintendo, you get online, but it's randomly decided for you.
Minecraft.
You ain't making that decision in most cases, so it's still it's you can go online. That's not the issue, but can you go online like we designed Destiny to go online? And I would say no, you can't.
But Minecraft, they could do it like that. Minecraft, I think Microsoft is handling those service. If Activision, they really wanted Destiny to be on the Switch, they could do it. And the whole portable portion of it, it really don't matter because everybody else playing it at home. Why would you expect the Nintendo gamer to not want to play theirs at home where they have the strongest Wi-Fi or LAN connection or adapter? So I just think, I don't know. I just feel like there's so many excuses. But you're right. It's not that they're not talking about power anymore because Nintendo has basically solved that problem. I mean, it's basically Xbox now. So
yeah, basically. So power and the issue, and like I said, it is a combination of both third parties intentionally making Nintendo, like I said, the Cinderella of the game, and it's also partially Nintendo fault because it actually plays into their benefit when you don't put your games over here. No, I might not be popular, but I got a loyal fan base that as long as I got these IPs, they're gonna buy my games, and I can put even lesser experiences out, quick fixes out, and even those will sell like crazy because they're loyal to my brand. And so it works in Nintendo's favor, and they might not be as hungry, as urgent about getting third party. Now, if they first party titles didn't have as much staying power, I guarantee you Nintendo would have been one or two things: folded, or they would look a lot like Microsoft and Sony, making sure they had them titles. It would be powerful enough. It would be all these things. It's a luxury that Nintendo have that other fan bases don't have. I mean, other companies don't have, is because Nintendo has a fan base that is very loyal to their IPs, whereas other fan bases are not as loyal to the company's IPs as we are to Nintendo's IPs. So I think it's 50-50, man. I think blame could go equally across the board, Nintendo and third party. But let's move over a little bit, man. Let's talk about Sony. We didn't get a chance to really talk about this with Rocket League and the fact that Sony is still playing hardball with cross-play, being able to play with Xbox community, Nintendo community, and PC community. It's really, to me, it seems like it's really more towards Xbox, and now that Nintendo seems to be open to it, the Nintendo community, because they did this with Street Fighters. You could play PC, people who owned it on PC. You could play cross-play with a PC owner with Street Fighters 5, but they won't allow it to happen with Microsoft and now Nintendo. Why do you think Sony is refusing to do that?
Because they're in control. Sony is in control of the home console market. We don't need you, and if we do need you, we'll come out and play, but we don't have to play with y'all. You trying to play with us because we the big dogs, and they're holding their position, and I think that's basically the bottom line. I don't think Sony has to make any moves and try to play nice with everybody else. They're winning.
Do you think it's kind of similar to what we was kind of describing with Nintendo? Like you said, they are dominating. They're in the number one position. They have the most. They basically have double or at least quadruple what the Xbox has, right? As far as sales, right?
They double. I think they double.
Well, how many Xboxes are sold? Like 25, something like that?
I think they reached 30 now. What
so
all
30
with all the Xboxes out there in the world, Xbox One X, you combine, they got 30.
Okay. So they got 30. PlayStation has a 60, somewhere like that, 60 PlayStations in the marketplace. And then you add in what the Switch is doing plus what the Wii U had. Sony still, with all other companies combined, still has about 20 consoles on everybody else. So if they refuse to allow their fan base or their online community to mingle with other communities, that might force somebody who owns an Xbox to go either buy a PlayStation or buy the game on their PlayStation to play with their friends, and that removes them from playing in the Xbox Live community. So it's real. I don't know. It's jerkish. It's real inconsiderate, but at the same time, they in the power position to make that decision.
But see, at first I didn't know. So I know on Minecraft it's Microsoft servers, and I think people have joked and said that Xbox Live is going to be on the Nintendo Switch before the Nintendo Network is going to be on there. So with Minecraft, I can understand, but I don't understand with like Rocket League and all these other games that Microsoft has tried to play ball with them. But I don't know. I don't like I said, they don't have to. I'm trying to find out.
Let me ask this: do you feel like enough pressure can be applied to Sony to change their position, like with the backlash from journalists and gamers? Do you think enough pressure will mount to where it forces Sony to recant on what that decision to not allow them to do it?
I don't think so. I don't. There's not a competitor out there for Sony right now to allow that pressure. Journalists not gonna do it because they make a lot of money off making good articles for Sony, clickbait articles. They're not gonna do it. I mean, people. What they do is they ride the wave. They're gonna ride the Beyonce of the video game industry right now until they can't ride it no more. So no, I don't think there's any pressure that will push them to open up the doors and try to play ball with everybody else.
Yeah, you right, and you made a good point. I think it might be more damaging for somebody to come out against Sony. It might hurt their platform more so than their words will hurt Sony, because they'll probably be like you said with Beyonce. You say anything about Beyonce, the Beehive coming, and Sony definitely right, and Sony definitely has a Beehive. Nintendo has one too, but Sony's Beehive is way more louder and way more potent than our Beehive, so because they always dumping on the Nintendo community. Just go listen to Michael Pachter. Even in the I was listening to, I don't know if you listened to the last Gamer Tag Radio where they interviewed him. Even in praise of Nintendo and the Switch, he found every opportunity and took every opportunity to throw salt at the fan base of Nintendo. He always called us fanboys. He never called Microsoft and Sony's fan base fanboys. He just said they fans. Are they gamers? Are they community? But when he talks about Nintendo, if he praised Nintendo, the company, he's still going to throw a jab at the fan base. That's how little respect we as a fan base has in the gaming industry. It's sad, man. We have no respect as a fan base.
But I want to bring something back, and I don't know if you want to move back to Nintendo before I ask this question.
No, I wouldn't fit to move back to Nintendo just yet.
Okay. Well, I got a question out there. Oh, you want me to ask? All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I kind of said this a long time ago, and I said it like the 3DS gamer isn't necessarily the same gamer that's on the Wii U and the Switch, and you can tell by the sales if we want to look at the numbers. And Nia kind of said it in her last video, and Cornelius just brought it back up in the chat, and he said, "What's the issue with the 3DS? Because the 3DS gets a gang of third-party games." And my belief, wholeheartedly, is that the Nintendo core fan base is not their home console. Their core fan base is the handheld, and it always has been since the Game Boy took off. I just think that they kept doing the home console thing because that's what they did. But I think they've always catered to their handheld market more so, because if you look at this community outside of Federation Force, I've never heard anybody really complain about the 3DS. It's always praise. These people are content and happy with the games that they're getting. They're not complaining because Nintendo is satisfying their needs. It's the console gamers of Nintendo's fan base is always complaining. I don't know how you feel about that though.
Yeah, well, I agree, but I would say that because of the low effort that it takes to pump out games on a platform like a DS, a Game Boy Advance, a Game Boy, I would say especially now than then, maybe it took more look because back then the Game Boy was a lesser experience than the Super NES, you know what I'm saying, or the NES, and the Game Boy Advance was just a little bit lesser than the Super NES. But as home consoles started to really get more advanced, handheld until the Vita and the PSP was dragging drastically behind, you know what I'm saying, as far as the visuals and all that. So Nintendo, I don't think they had to work near as hard to produce titles for the 3DS and then or their handheld division, and the fact that they dominated that market all by their lonesome. Third party didn't have no other option, and there was money to be made there. You see what I'm saying? Like it'll be it ain't like you got other stuff to compete, and never the PSP nor the Vita ever really honestly competed with Nintendo's handheld division. So just like Sony now, just like Xbox 360 then and PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 before it, third party go with where the power is. If Nintendo ever came back in power, the only time they didn't do that was with the Wii, but we still got a whole lot of third party support on the Wii. You did see Call of Duties, you did see Madden, you did see NBA 2Ks and all that on the Wii. Yeah, it had a different control scheme, but we saw a whole bunch of third party support on the Wii. Why? Because the Wii was number one. So I think third party go with who's number one more so. If you selling the most, it's almost like Capcom with Monster Hunter. People shocked that they went back to play. I'm not. PlayStation got everybody whooped. Of course, they go back to the PlayStation. They have never really been low. Only reason they was on 3DS because 3DS was selling faster than anything else in the market. And a lot of folks love to forget that the 3DS was a device and is a platform, and it's Nintendo's platform. So a lot of times we've seen to isolate the home console, and as if that's the only thing Nintendo has. Nintendo has the 3DS, the DS, and all that to lean on, plus they home console. Now with the Switch, combining both. So I think it's more about Nintendo dominant in the handheld more so than anything, and not having no other options there.
I think we'll see when the Pokemon Switch game come out, because that's one of the major factors in why the 3DS or the DS before it, or the Game Boy Advance, Pokemon. If Pokemon comes out and does this thing on the Switch, we should see a shift, in my opinion.
Right. And dude, that's why I thought, and I didn't want to go back here, but I'll go here for a second. Then we go back to a question I want to ask. But that's why I felt Nintendo missed opportunities at E3. I know they said they working on one, and I know that's enough for the fan base. And that what I would say that's enough for the YouTube fan base, because a lot of times we like to confuse the fan base of Nintendo with YouTube personalities.
Yeah,
I think we are. This YouTube community of Nintendo fans is drastically different from the actual Nintendo fan. Yep. I don't know what the actual Nintendo fan thinks. I know what the community on YouTube that associate with Nintendo thinks. And I feel like we are a very small pocket of the Nintendo fan base. And because we in on YouTube so much and in these comment sections so much, we seem to think we represent the whole majority. I don't think we even close to the majority of Nintendo fan base. But anyway, but yeah, I think Pokemon is going to do some things. I just wish they would have went into more detail on it. The same with Metroid Prime 4, but that's me. Well, let me ask this, man. There's another thing about Sony, came from Sony, that I thought was interesting. I want to see what your thoughts is on it. Sony, I think it's a dude named Jimmy. I can't think of his whole name, but I know his first name was Jimmy or something like that. Said that he believes that the PlayStation 4 Pro will hold back the Xbox One's full potential for the first few years. What you think about that?
No, but that don't even make sense. I don't see how that has anything to do with anything. The Xbox One X is holding itself back because Microsoft talked it up and said that the Xbox One X is going to do all of this amazing things, and then we come to find out it's pretty much doing the same things that the PlayStation 4 Pro is doing. Now, I don't know. He could be right. It could be that it has a little bit more juice. I don't think so. I think that Microsoft talked himself in the corner and gave us the impression that the Xbox One X is some god tier console when it's not. I think they pretty much are going to be tit for tat, especially when people actually start playing these games and getting into it. But no, I don't think that for one sole reason, because you also got to consider that the Windows 10 version of these games is going to be able to play in 4K and all this other stuff. And if Microsoft wanted to, they could just make these games. If they're talking about first party or third party, it doesn't even matter. the Windows versions or the PC versions of these games will be able to be played, and I'm holding up air quotes here, on the Xbox One X. So no, it has something to do with it. They can go from the top down instead of going from PlayStation 4 up, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this dude in Sony was being hypocritical because first of all, the PlayStation 4 Pro hasn't sold very well. And I don't know, and that's why they mix it into the whole PlayStation 4 brand, so you can mask the fact that your new system that you didn't need to make ain't selling. And your base model of the PlayStation 4 is still your number one selling hard piece of hardware. VR ain't selling. So, and it's also hypocritical because if that's the case, the Xbox One held back the PlayStation 4. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I don't think anybody would ever say that's true because Sony made it their business to let you know that this game on their platform was 1080p versus the 900p that's on Xbox One. They made sure through Digital Foundry and all these places that you saw the difference and saw that their platform and their system was stronger and the strongest, most powerful platform on the market. So, yeah, I think it's very hypocritical. No, I don't think first of all, like I said, if anything's holding back the Xbox One X, it would be the Xbox One and the OG and the PlayStation 4 base model. Them the two platforms that's holding back, that's going to hold back the Xbox One X, not the PlayStation 4 Pro. I thought that was stupid too.
But my
It
question
made no
is,
sense.
hold it back from what? If it's a game, if it's a third-party game meant to be played across the board, the only thing you can possibly do is have better performance and better resolution. But as far as like building the game from the ground up, we won't see that. Like I said, Microsoft already put the nail in the coffin on that because they said it's an Xbox One family, and they also said Windows 10. So Microsoft is holding it back.
Right, yeah,
But not saying,
Microsoft is definitely killing their own with that whole, like you said, the Windows 10 is the biggest deterrent from buying a Xbox One X because most who own a PC like yourself won't see the need. If I can play the game over here with the same bells and whistles, I'm not going to go spend for $500 to play it on my TV. So yeah,
Right.
but yeah, I thought it was stupid. What did I was going to bring up something I can't think of right now.
Since we on Microsoft, I'm gonna let you think about that. Since we on Microsoft, man, I went back and watched the conference. I think I watched it yesterday. I went back and watched it. Man, there was a lot of games on there. I told myself, I was like, nah, I wouldn't play that. I wouldn't play that. And I was surprised that I was doing that a lot. State of Decay didn't look good to me. I don't know if it's still a working in progress game. Crackdown 3 didn't look good to me. I was like, man, I wouldn't even play these games. It was the same games that I said, the Super Lucky Tales that I would play. I want to say, I can't, besides the other third-party games, they really didn't have a lot of good-looking games. I thought it was pretty bad the second time I watched it. And I was giving Microsoft so much praise because they gave so many diverse games and things like that. But I don't know, man. They showed a lot of games that I don't think is going to sell. But
Yeah, I mean, they like I said, Microsoft's press conference was okay. It wasn't bad. It didn't do anything to persuade you to go buy Xbox One X. It didn't. If I ask the question, did Nintendo move the needle? Microsoft definitely didn't move the needle. So yeah, you're right. It was a lot of nothingness in that press conference. I think Anthem and games like Anthem cause you to forget all the nothingness that was there. Just like I felt like Metroid Prime 4 covered for a lot of nothingness with Nintendo's Spotlight. Like think Metro Prime 4 announcement made you forget that all you saw was what you saw back in January, and you saw dudes say, we making Pokemon 4, and you saw Yoshi, you saw Kirby, and you saw Mario Odyssey, and basically you saw nothing. But that Metro Prime 4 announcement made you totally forget all that. Let me ask you this, man. What did you think about the beginning of my video this morning, man, with the wolf and all the stuff I did to it?
I thought that was pretty funny.
Okay.
I was like, man, he really went in and edited this thing, but it was factual. I love that whole video. Yeah,
dude, I almost just left it as that. I wasn't even. I was like, sure, I could just leave it at this. I did that all on my phone, man. I could have just left it at that, and it would have basically been the message. But anyway, I thought it was cool. It was funny to me, but I knew a lot of folks were gonna get mad. Where did I want to go? So let's go back to Reggie.
Oh Lord.
And we getting close to the end. Reggie confirms the phone app as a requirement.
Mm-hmm.
When you saw this announcement, and K-Bun we didn't have no choice because K-Bun wasn't gonna let us not see it. Since he ain't here, let me put him on blast. He was not gonna let us not see this announcement. So what did you think when you saw that Reggie literally confirmed that you have to have a phone?
Well, wasn't it? He also said something about that there were going to be other ways that you can do that. The Hori headset was just one option. And he said it. Yeah, he said that, but he also said that you had to have, in order to do online, you would have to have the phone too. So I don't know if Reggie was just fluffing. I don't know. It was still confusing. I'll put it like that. It was still confusing. Look, this time I'm gonna take Reggie from now on. Ever since he said we didn't have to use friend codes, and now we got to use friend codes, I'm just gonna wait and see. I don't care what Reggie over there talking about. They probably didn't even give him the real deal from from Japan. He probably got the last memo and he didn't get the updated one. So I don't know. I can't take Reggie seriously, man. He's a PR guy, and I think right now he is the Nintendo damage control for Nintendo. He's the damage control guy. So I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see what happens because I can't trust Reggie, man. That's just how I feel.
So do you feel like Reggie don't be briefed on what's? So you basically saying that you believe Reggie be finding out just as we're finding out, and then trying to damage it. They're trying to control the backlash as he can.
No, I think he's brief. I just think that in those heat of the moments he can't. You know, Nintendo got they what's the thing where you can't talk about something.
NDAs.
Yeah, they got those, and he just can't say anything, and he has to try to come up on the spot with answers. So I don't know.
But see, to me, okay, all right, if you know, okay, this is me. And if it is going that way, I guess you had to commend him if he's willing to get up here and say, yes, you had to have. But if I know the backlash and I'm seeing how the community is responding to this situation with the online services by Nintendo, if I was Reggie, I would be like, okay, I know it is a fact, but I ain't finna let that cat out the bag, not today. So I'm gonna do everything in my power to avoid confirming what's causing friction and heat. I'm gonna be like, well, we still working on it. Just be patient. We hear your complaints. We understand how you feel. Nintendo just want to make sure we offering you the best online experience ever. That's why we delayed it. I would not have said yes. You gotta have the phone as an option.
Right. So, I'm just trying to make sure I understand. Is he saying that you have to have a phone for voice chat, or you have to have a phone, period?
From how he put it, I think it was alluding to voice chat. But because if that's the case, we wouldn't be able to get online right now, you know. So
True.
I'm assuming that voice chat is going to be strictly restricted to the app on your phone. Now, this is the crazy thing, and I didn't really think about this as much as until I start putting thought into the audio of the video I made this morning. Okay, we already scratch our head about paying online when the online that we're paying for is the Wi-Fi and the online that I pay for in general in my house. So you basically charging me. This is crazy to me. Every time I think about it, you are charging me to use my Wi-Fi.
Pretty
Right?
much.
You are charging me to use the internet I'm paying for and to run it through your system, to give me access to your servers or to the community on the community Xbox Live or PlayStation 4, PlayStation Network or whatever. So Nintendo is essentially doing the same thing now, but they go a step farther, Keith. Not only are they charging you to use your internet, they're charging you to use your phone. Ain't that, dude? When I thought about, so it's actually a double whammy. Like you gotta they using your phone, which you pay for. They ain't chipping in on that payment. They ain't chipping in on the space that you're gonna have to give up to download their app on your phone, and they're gonna charge you to utilize that app. Oh my God, man. That makes no sense to me.
If they were smart, since these are businesses, you know what I would do? I would invest in making my own cheap version of internet and sell it independently, and have people who don't even have the console playing on my internet service. And if you do happen to buy a PlayStation, a Switch, or Xbox, you get your online for free. Well, if you're still using AT&T or Comcast, you got to pay for it. That's what I would do. Maybe that sounds stupid. Maybe it's a lot more to that than how romantic I made that sound. But I would invest in a Wi-Fi company, or not a Wi-Fi, but just a ISP, and put out my own ISP for people who want to use it and make it and undercut these big corporations.
I'm just trying to wonder. I don't really think. I guess we need to figure out, is voice chat really that challenging? Now you own it can't be, because YouTube don't charge us. Google Plus don't charge us to use Hangout. No. YouTube ain't charging us to utilize their stuff and all. So and you being a PC owner and a gamer on PC, you can easily access online and voice chat and all that stuff, and you ain't paying for that. So I don't understand what is so hard that makes Xbox, PlayStation, and now Nintendo need to charge us to be able to do that.
Nothing. All you had to do is say, hey, we're going to take away your rights, and only way you're going to get it if you pay for it. And people have been paying for it for so many years that they've grown accustomed to it. And now it's pretty much, I don't want to say standard, but it pretty much is a standard now. But realistically, you're not paying for anything. You're not. Except maybe some free games a month that probably not worth anything.
So I wonder, could this be illegal? I know, I'm pretty sure it can't, because they're getting away with it. But if people really actually filed a lawsuit against these companies for charging you to use your internet,
no, it's not illegal. What would have been illegal if Microsoft continued to do what they did with the Netflix, like hide it behind. You have to have Xbox Gold or Live or whatever to access not Live, but Netflix and all these other apps. That they probably could have got in trouble with. But since they opened that up and said you don't need our subscription service to use these because you're already paying the subscription service. But it's the same way with the Netflix. they can charge you for their services, and that's why they give you games. And from what I'm thinking, they give you these games so you can't say you're charging me just to use your internet. I'm providing the
Right.
service
Yeah,
for you.
that's it. That's what it is. They saying the charges for the extra stuff. So basically, they are hiding all these features behind a paywall and then covering it by adding all this, like Nintendo giving you games you want to own 20 times over. Like, how many times can you give me Mario 3 again? You know, I had it. You should have allowed me to bring that up to every, like you said, all this stuff should have transferred over to every platform and device I own because I bought it from you. So
Right.
you already got my money for this. I believe there could be some legal grounds with some of this stuff. If the right lawyer got to look at it, I believe there could be some legal grounds for some lawsuits against Microsoft, Sony, and now and maybe even more so Nintendo, with the fact that they keep making you buy Mario 3 over and over and over again.
I can't get sued for that though.
I mean, think about it. Think about it. If okay, first of all, you know I own the game, right? It's data, right?
Uh-huh.
It's data. So I've already purchased this data. You know that I purchased this data. You create another platform, but it's the exact same data. You just bringing it over to that platform, which I've already paid for the data. Now I buy this platform. Shouldn't the data that I already bought for you that you put on this platform be covered?
Yeah.
So technically, you're recharging me for something I've already bought. So
That's probably why they start over all the time.
that's why they start out right. And I'm saying, I believe that could be, if you got the right lawyer, I believe they can either do one or two things. Nintendo will end up having to correct that and do what Sony, what Apple does. When you buy a new device, all that stuff transfers up to that device.
Man, they better do that now.
I think eventually it's gonna happen, man. I think eventually that's gonna happen. We don't went all off. But for the most part, man, honestly, at the E3 and everything, it really ain't much to talk about.
Well, somebody brought up something great. Dionysus, I don't know. He said, why when people mention Nintendo, they speak only of the Wii U failure and not mention the 3DS success, which we did. Alternatively, when people mention Sony, they speak of the PlayStation 4 success and never mention PS Vita failure. I added the failure, but that's a good point. We never mentioned how bad the Vita's doing.
We do, but the gaming community as a whole doesn't focus on Sony's failures. Like, if you notice, when the PlayStation 3 was failing, they wouldn't even talk about Sony. It wasn't until the PlayStation 3 started to track well, then all of a sudden you started hearing more about Sony. Just like they just didn't speak on Sony when Nintendo do bad. And it took me a long time to convince K-Bum, and I know he's not here to defend himself, but it took me a long time to get K-Bum, and I don't even know if I fully got him to see the difference in coverage between between Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft. When Sony does something bad, it's a blip. It's a blip in the whole scheme of things. You might hear it might be a topic, a talking point for a week, and it dies out. When the PlayStation 3 came out for $600 something, it was horrible, it was bad, it was this, that, and the third, and then it died out. I remember they got Metal Gear Solid 4 or 3, one of the two, and how cinematic that game was and all that, and everybody was losing their marbles over that, and Ratchet and Clank and all that, even though the system still cost what it cost. And then Uncharted 4 came out, they dropped the price. I mean, Uncharted 2 came out, they dropped the price, and then after that, it was the praises of Sony again, and Sony started selling, and that's all you know. You didn't really hear any bad rhetoric toward Sony. When Nintendo, when the Wii U was kicking tails and printing, when the Wii was kicking tail and printing money, they ain't want to talk about it that much. It was this: is Nintendo intentionally, and they doing the same thing with the Switch. Is Nintendo intentionally holding back product to make it seem like there's a drought and there's a high demand, and they intentionally not putting systems out and stuff like that? It was always a reason for why Nintendo was successful. Yeah. Whereas Sony, it was natural for them to be successful. With Nintendo, Nintendo is being sneaky, they being underhanded. So, and then when the Wii U started to fail, the Nintendo wait too long, so they have moved on. HD is the standard now, not SD. I mean, they poured on with the Wii started failing, but when it was successful, they found reasons for why it was successful. And Nintendo doing something, and they did the same thing with the Switch. So now Sony is Michael Jordan to the gaming industry right now. It can do no wrong because I'm foul. You can't speak against Sony. Sony is what I don't even know if Nintendo ever was what Sony is in the minds of the industry at this time. That might be a conversation we need to have. With the NES,
they more like LeBron.
No, they ain't like LeBron, man. That's Microsoft.
No.
Microsoft is LeBron. Huh?
They win. I mean, you put LeBron on any team, that's a contender. You know what I'm saying? I
got you.
But
but everybody choose to hate on him for whatever reason.
Yeah. I'm
okay. So you say Sony is LeBron.
Yeah, Sony is LeBron.
I would say Nintendo is LeBron.
What?
Nintendo. Everybody hates on LeBron. Everybody hates on LeBron. They don't like LeBron. They don't even know why they don't like LeBron.
Nintendo ain't winning.
Nobody hates Sony. Nintendo fans don't even hate Sony. We don't hate Sony. Let's just be honest. We don't hate Sony. We just don't like it as much as Nintendo. We don't hate Sony. Matter of fact, we like Sony. We just don't have the love for it as we do Nintendo. Man, these other fan bases hate Nintendo. They hate Nintendo. They don't like nothing about Nintendo.
And I'm tired of hearing about Mario.
Right. So I would say Sony is like LeBron, is like Kobe or Jordan in a sense. You can say nothing against them. You can't if you try to bring up an argument that Michael Jordan ain't the greatest of all times, you're gonna get all type of people come out the woodworks to shut you down. If you try to say LeBron is arguably one of the best, you're gonna have a whole bunch of people come out to shut that down. That's Nintendo, man. You say Nintendo is the best developers, people gonna come out. Yeah, Mario, how many Marios can you play? But look at how many games they have played on Sony that get praised as basically Uncharted with different names and skins.
Oh my God. Hey, I'm looking at that last game. What was that game? It's a zombie looking game.
Dang it. It just skipped my head.
I'm not gonna say it in the comment section. But
I can't think of it right now. Beyond, it was a Beyond?
No. It's I can't think of it, but man, it looked just like it was crafted right out of Naughty Dog. It looked just like one of them.
Yeah, it is, basically.
I'm like,
basically, what is that game name? You had Uncharted, you had you got Last of Us 2, God of War is looking like Uncharted now, and then
Days Gone.
Days Gone, yeah, Days Gone definitely look like Uncharted with zombies, hordes of zombies.
Yep.
Yeah, all the Sony games look the same to me now. They heavily story driven, over your shoulder, same movement, same runs mechanic, same climb mechanic. Everything is the same to me. Even the way that they fight, like You can't tell me Last of Us didn't fight like when you get into fights, didn't play like Uncharted. Last of Us was Uncharted with what's them things and shriekers or whatever they were. Clickers, that's what they was, or tickers or whatever.
But it's almost as if like if Sony don't put out a game like that, or if Microsoft or Nintendo don't put out a game like that, it's kind of like it's not accepted by the gaming community. Even Horizon has had some of that vibe to it, even though it felt or it seemed like more like Tomb Raider. It still had that same type of vibe a little bit. Well, no, I take that back. Horizon was a little different, but it seemed like the game.
And you're right, a little different, but from the surface, bro, you was right on the money. It looked like that Uncharted style. Is just they opened up the world a little bit more, let you free roam a little bit more. But at the foundation, it looked like Uncharted.
Yeah,
it looked like Tomb Raider.
In that in-game chatter, man, it's almost the same. It's kind of like they have to have this jovial type conversations between each other. Oh, what is that? I don't know, but it looks like something gross. Ew, you know, it just all feel the same. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I had to call. I was like, man, Sony. I mean, I like Uncharted, and I like that whole cinematic, brilliant storytelling, interactive movie-like game. I like that, but it seemed like Nintendo in some aspects, they found the gold mine with their fan base, and they seem to want to add it into every facet of their games. It's like, dude, don't do that. Don't, like with platformers. Nintendo seem to want to put some element of platforming in everything, and it's like, no, man, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? No, let these games be different, man. Anyway, that's all I got, Keith. I ain't got much more, man. We kind of just was shooting the breeze tonight because we didn't really have many topics. But hopefully they stuck around and enjoyed. The comment section was lit up, so we didn't do too bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, you got any final thoughts?
Yeah. Mario and Rabbids was low key one of the greatest games at the E3 this year. I mean, I hope everybody check out that game. I'm definitely gonna check it out. Other than that, man, Lakers got Lonzo. We finna go do the big thing. We're trying to get Paul George.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm finna go up there and see what's going on, man. Did you hear about Butler getting traded to Minnesota?
Yeah, that's weird. And don't they still got
figure out what we got?
Don't they still got Wiggins? Don't Minnesota still got Wiggins?
I think so. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to see what the Cavs got. Forget Lonzo Ball, man.
Man, they trying to blow your team up. Folks talking about LeBron trying to go to the Lakers. They talking about Kyrie might get traded. I don't know, man.
They talking about Kyrie said he might leave. If LeBron leave, Kyrie won't out. They ain't breaking up nothing this year. They'll all be back except for maybe Love. I wouldn't be surprised if you see someone like Wade or
he already signed with the Bulls.
Wade signed back with the Bulls?
$24 million, I believe.
Oh, bump Wade. Wade, man, he got his rings. He ain't hungry for no rings no more.
Nope.
But anyway, that blew up my thoughts. We might get Carmelo or Paul George. You know, they was talking trades with them.
That would be interesting to see Carmelo go over there. That would be interesting.
We'll see. But I ain't got a chance to watch none of my sports today because, like I said, I've been out with the son at this football camp. Man, they trying him out on varsity, out of freshman, man, as a freshman.
That's what's up.
That's real good, man. So, but anyway, let me get off this, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this podcast. We'll be back, not this Sunday because I won't even be in town, but we'll be back next coming Thursday, or next Thursday. And hopefully we have K-Bum 20 back. Keep him in your prayers and his family in your prayers. And hopefully you have D2K on at that time as well. Till then, folks, deuces.